Is that all you have to say? My husband, pale-faced, looked at me. Just moments ago, he was sweet-talking his affair partner.
Can I expect a hotel date tonight?
Now, he looked like a different man. He must be feeling like he's fallen from heaven to hell. But I'm going to drag him down even further. Brace yourself, you idiot. My name is Julie. I'm 40 and have been relying on a rechargeable heating pad lately because I get cold easily. It saves on heating costs too. Let me tell you about a day when I got so heated I didn't need any heating pad. It was a winter day. I was in my 30s then, about to celebrate 10 years of marriage with my husband, Dan. We had no kids, but got along well and always went out together on weekends. Life was supposed to be worry-free.
Julie, I'm sorry. I've been demoted.
I was shocked by his sudden admission. It turns out he was demoted for a mistake made by one of his subordinates. This caused a significant loss, and his evaluation, salary, and bonus all took a hit. Given our recent big expenses like a new car and a house, this was a big blow. But blaming him wasn't fair. I decided to support him by quitting my role as a stay-at-home wife and finding a job. I thought it would be easy to find work if I didn't mind what it was, but the job market had changed since I last worked. At every interview, I was asked if I planned to have kids or if I had managerial experience, making it hard to find a job. Companies wanted immediate assets without the risk of maternity leave. Realizing the difficulty of job hunting, I decided to look for part-time work instead. Even that wasn't easy. Commuting long distances for short shifts seemed like a waste of time, and companies wouldn't cover transportation costs. I ended up taking a night job at a bar. I was glad I could support my husband, but he became more irritable. He complained.
I don't want to live a miserable life where I have to fetch my own drinks.
Everyone would think, what's that about? But he really said it. He meant he wanted me to pamper him after he came home tired from work. If life allowed me to be a stay-at-home wife, I'd love that too. But with his demotion and the loss of expected bonuses, we couldn't afford it. Plus, he himself said his chances to shine at work had decreased, and his performance might decline further. So, I snapped. Do you even understand why I started working? We had a huge fight. He said,
I didn't tell you to go to work.
While true, does that mean he expected me to stay a housewife despite financial hardships? I couldn't do that. If we're living together, I want to support him and avoid financial struggles. Besides, while we haven't had kids, it doesn't mean we won't. It's good to have savings. Isn't it normal to want to work for a secure life? We kept fighting over similar issues, and it shocked me how different our values were even after a decade of being together. Our home became tense, and I started thinking about divorce. Maybe he felt the same because he spent less time at home. Often, I'd find the dinner I made before work untouched when I got home. We barely saw each other or ate together, making me question if we were still a couple. One Sunday, while spending time together in the living room, I noticed he locked his phone. Before, when I said, "It's dangerous if I drop it," he'd say,
It's annoying to enter a passcode each time.
But now he locked it. I couldn't just brush it off as increased security awareness after seeing a TV drama where the husband started locking his phone when he began cheating. Given our fights, it felt odd. Could he be cheating like in the drama? Once suspicion set in, everything he did seemed shady. He used to go to work with stubble, but now shaved every day. He carried mouth spray, sweat wipes, and always fixed his hair before leaving. He looked cleaner and more interested in music and even started reading comics. It was like he was a different person from 6 months ago. What else could change a person so much but falling in love? Without any evidence, I felt the presence of another woman. Instead of rushing to divorce, I decided to gather evidence if he was indeed cheating. I should use whatever I can against him if we were proceeding with a divorce. A few days later, I was late to work because of a train delay. Rushing into the bar where I worked, I overheard.
Can I expect a hotel date tonight?
Oh, Dan, someone might hear you.
Let them hear how in love we are.
Oh, stop! You're embarrassing me. A man and a woman were talking happily at the same table. When I saw the man's back, I immediately recognized my husband and turned my face away. What is he doing here? I took advantage of his turned back to nervously look at the woman. She seemed much younger than me, probably in her early 20s. Not particularly cute, but she had the charm of youth. From their conversation, it was clear she was his mistress. What should I do? Confront him now? Or wait and watch? When I watch those cheating dramas, I always think, come on, confront your husband already. But now that it's happening to me, I have no idea what to do. My mind was in a panic. Then,
Unlike my wife, you're so beautiful. I'm rushing the divorce so I can marry you,
my husband said, sounding overly sweet. I could feel my face twitching. I caught the woman's, Christine's, eye for a moment, and she looked away in fear, probably sensing my fury. I must have looked like a demon. Is that all you have to say? I asked, grabbing my husband's shoulder. He turned around with a dumbfounded look.
What?
He stammered, standing up so quickly he knocked over his chair. Christine sighed and put her head in her hands, realizing everything.
What are you doing here?
It looks like you're having a lot of fun. Mind if your not-so-beautiful wife joins?
No,
He stammered, clearly panicking. The manager approached, noticing the commotion, and I explained the situation. He said I could take the rest of the day off to sort this out and added,
Make sure you handle things with your husband.
I had been venting about my home life at work, so the manager and the staff understood my situation. Feeling their supportive gazes, I faced my husband. Now we can talk freely. Since you want to marry the beautiful Christine, I'll hurry up the divorce. So, tell me everything.
Huh?
My husband looked stunned. What kind of reaction is that?
Wait, divorce?
Of course. You just said you wanted a divorce, didn't you? I'm fine with it, but I'm taking alimony.
No, that's not what I meant.
Wait, you're not divorcing her? Christine cut in. Caught off guard, he said,
No, well,
You said you were getting a divorce, so I didn't mind being the second woman. Now, you're saying you won't? That's not fair.
Well, there's a reason,
he said, floundering. Christine, right? He doesn't have a reason not to divorce. He's just making things up to impress us. He's a sleazy guy.
This is unbelievable,
she said, glaring at him. He shrank back, scared of her sharp look. It seemed she was starting to distrust him too. Then, an idea came to me. Christine, if you marry him, it'll be your first marriage, right?
Yes.
Are you sure that's what you want? Marriage is important for a woman. Do you want to marry such a pathetic guy?
Yeah, you're right.
Once a cheater, always a cheater. They say it happens 3 times. Next time, you might be in my shoes. Her expression changed, and she stared at him, assessing.
Don't listen to my wife, Christine. I'll cherish you,
he said desperately, not realizing how unconvincing he sounded. She stayed silent, watching him. He promised to cherish me for life when we got married, too. Cheaters don't admit they'll cheat, I said. She said,
Huh.
but her face showed clear distrust, and my husband started to pale, realizing his position was weakening.
Wait, I love both of you. Christine and Julie, both of you. So it's not cheating,
he said, desperately trying to explain. Trying to defend his love for both of us, he didn't notice how off-putting he was being.
Shut up,
a man at the next table yelled as he grabbed Dan. He was quite drunk, but not wrong about my husband being loud. It wasn't a random drunk complaint. He was irritated by the loudness and my husband's conversation. My husband panicked and looked at me and Christine for help.
Let me go, old man. Help me, Christine. Julie.
He cried, but we both just watched. If he got punched, I'd intervene, but he only got grabbed, and it was our noise disturbing others. I apologized to the neighboring table. Sorry for the noise, I said, and Christine nodded in agreement.
No, I'm mad at you, ladies. Who the heck is this loser? What kind of man talks about his wife not being pretty and then claims to love his mistress too? A man should take care of the woman he once loved. Respect your wife. That's the right thing to do, the man said. Christine and I were unexpectedly moved by his manliness. Compared to this man, my husband seemed small and insignificant. His excuses, his indecision, I wondered why I married him. He had been a good husband once, but I couldn't remember those times now. Luckily, it was a quiet weekday night, so the scene didn't escalate. Instead, I heard some customers criticizing my husband.
I thought I wanted to marry you, Dan, but now I see clearly, Christine said.
Oh, what do you mean?
My husband asked. You're simply uncool. You claimed you led a wild group, but freak out over a little scuffle. It's pathetic.
Wait, he said that? I asked, looking at my sweating husband.
Then it was a lie?
Yes, we went to the middle school together. He was so insignificant that even the tough kids didn't remember his name. They called him Darren and David, but he never had the guts to correct them.
He's not tough at all,
Christine said. Well, that was actually why he and I, a quiet student, got along well, but I kept that to myself. You're still idolizing bad boys at your age? I said, making Christine give him another cold look. He hung his head in shame, trembling. Christine, if you tell me everything, I'll go easy on you with the alimony. So tell me about your relationship with him, I said.
Okay,
she agreed. My husband panicked, but the man next to us glared him into silence. Christine began to tell me everything about their relationship. They met about a year ago. My husband approached her while she was working at a cafe. Despite his persistent advances, she kept rejecting him because he just looked like an old man to her. But my husband didn't give up and kept trying until a few months ago she finally gave in, thinking,
if he's this serious about me?
She didn't know he was married at first. He only told her after they got closer. Ugh, disgusting. This is also how I found out the reason for his demotion. He had been skipping work to visit her at the cafe, which led to his demotion. How pathetic. I felt like giving alimony to the subordinate who was scapegoated because of him. After his demotion, he had more free time and kept visiting the cafe until he finally won her over. And when I started working part-time, he used it as an excuse to see her at night, deepening their relationship. It's no wonder I was furious about his affair. Working hard while he was messing around with another woman was humiliating. But at least I managed to save some money. By the way, my husband came to this bar because he couldn't remember my workplace's name. It shows how little he cared about me. When I confronted him about the divorce again, he still refused, saying he loved me. Ugh, what a joke. He didn't love me. He just loved having a wife to iron his shirts, cook dinner, and serve him beer. I heard he made her do things for him at her place too. When I told him this, he finally agreed to the divorce. She quickly broke up with him too.
I never liked you that much, and after getting to know you better, I can't stand you. Let's break up, she said.
So much for him, loving both of us. We didn't love him at all. I made sure he paid alimony and divided our assets fairly. Christine, true to her word, also paid alimony, saying,
I felt like a victim at first, but I knew he was married when I continued the affair. Oh, I need to take responsibility and pay the proper alimony.
She was 22 at the time. Youth leads to mistakes, but I hope she grows into a better person. Personally, I couldn't stand the idea of my husband being happy with his mistress, so I was delighted they turned on each other. After the divorce and breakup, Dan lost his motivation at work, showing up in wrinkled shirts with messy hair and unshaven face, making frequent mistakes. He got relegated to a department known for incompetent employees. His salary dropped further, and his former subordinates became his bosses, using him as an example of what not to become. If he had pulled himself together, he might have found a new wife, but he didn't. Typical of him. As for me, I moved to the countryside where my late grandmother lived and opened a small cafe in a renovated house. Before getting married, I worked for a cafe chain and always dreamed of having my own place. I use locally grown vegetables for lunch, and it's become quite popular. The regulars are all locals who come for coffee and chats, making me feel like I have a big family. I'm not married, but I'm enjoying life. That divorce made me realize marriage isn't everything. There are plenty of ways to enjoy life alone. Even though I'm technically single, I don't feel lonely. Life is busier and livelier than when I was married. A regular customer is about to have a grandchild and promised to bring the baby to the cafe. I don't have kids, but there are many familiar children around, and the community feels like we're all raising them together. It's like I'm a mother to them. The countryside has its own downsides, but it has many positives too. Tomorrow, I'm going fishing with my neighbor. If we catch anything good, I'll add it to the lunch menu.